99X, it's Barnes and Leslie. We are the Morning X. And we don't know everything. We don't.
No, not at all.
No, we get people that ask us questions all the time, all kinds of questions that come in. If you could just see our emails at hi@themorningx.com, hi@themorningx.com. It's times like these when I come across some of them that, one, I can relate to, but two, I just can't answer. That's when I call Allison from Elevate Etiquette. Hello, Allison.
Hello. It's great to be with you both.
Good to be with you. She is the queen of etiquette. Now, you're where? Now, what country are you in?
I'm in Italy at the moment.
I've seen you in 4 or 5 countries in the last 2 weeks, I feel like.
Wow.
Yes, it's been a busy wedding season for us. We've had some destination weddings. So we've been in Italy, we've been in Ireland, kind of all over the place.
Nice. Well, I follow you in Instagram mostly and love all your content. Some of it makes me laugh. And one of the things that I saw recently I wanted to ask you about, which was silencing group texts.
Oh.
What is the etiquette? Didn't you recently mention something about that?
Yes.
Yeah. What is that etiquette when you get all of a sudden you're on a group text and you're starting to get the bing, 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 bing? What's the etiquette for just exiting, or should you do that?
So with silencing a group chat, I think it depends on what the group chat is. If you are being asked questions that you need to answer, I think that it's okay to set some boundaries and say things like, you could send a quick message in the middle of the day and say, I'm going to get caught up on this at the end of the day, instead of responding and liking to every single message that's coming in. So I think it's fine to set boundaries. And I also think it depends on how large the group text is. Are people trying to schedule something? Is it something where you're holding people up by not responding? Or is it just like a fun conversation where people are going back and forth?
I love that, Barnes. I'll get back to you at the end of the day.
Oh, I thought you were saying you love those messages.
No, I don't like them at all. My husband can't stand them.
Oh, well, because it's just constant. I guess you can kill the notifications and they don't see it, right?
Right. You can kill the notifications. And that's another thing. We've talked about 2 things recently that were kind of hot topics on social media. One is muting notifications for group chats, and another is muting people on social media.
Yes.
So that's a whole nother etiquette topic there.
That is a great feature.
Yes.
But then you have to double down. When someone is finally agitated, you in political season will draw it out of you.
Right.
And you go to mute, and then you go, do you want to mute just their posts? Or do you want their whole shabam gone?
Right.
All.
Yes.
All. And they don't know you did it.
Right.
The group text thing, though, is like reply all with emails.
Yeah, it's awful.
Which also drives me crazy.
What that listener want to know, Leslie?
Oh, yes. Allison to the rescue here. Let's see. Dear Barnes and Leslie, wondering if you could ask Allison about this. Whenever my partner and I go to dinner with my parents, they cover the bill. But when we go to dinner with my in-laws, they expect us to take care of it.
Whoa.
Am I wrong for thinking they should pay? Thank you, Annie in Canton.
That's a great question.
Here we go.
Yes.
I've been in both those scenarios.
What do you do?
So I don't like to be overly harsh here, but yes, I do think it's wrong to apply what works in one family exactly to another family. I think what's most important is that you have an open, honest conversation about finances and how much things cost. And so because one side of in-laws want to treat the family on a regular basis doesn't necessarily mean that the other side needs to be obliged to do that or could do that even if they wanted to.
It's not a hierarchy thing? It's not the older person pays?
Barnes hierarchy.
So I think it's nice if a family can do that, but that's not always realistic for every family. So we don't want getting together to be cost prohibitive for certain grandparents or in-laws. So in that case, I do think it's important to just have a conversation and to have a conversation prior to the bill coming. Or let's say if you're going to do a series of activities together, if you're going to be going on, let's say, a trip together, you should be talking through all the different potential costs and who will be paying for what. So there's no surprises and arguments or tough decisions in the heat of a moment.
Hold on, etiquette monster. Now, this sounds so great on paper, but how are you supposed to have that conversation? You pull someone aside before and go, hey, can I see your W-2? Because we're going to just hash this out right now on who should be paying.
No, so it's not about who has the most. It's about like who has the budget or the ability to pay for certain things. And maybe you really want to go to, let's say, a really nice meal and you would love to do it with your parents, even though your parents may not be in a position to pay for you and your partner or your children or things like that. So instead of your parents saying like, no, we can't go to dinner there, you could say, well, maybe we can split the bill or something like that.
Yeah, because whoever's setting the tone, Barnes, like who's ever making the reservation, and you're making a reservation at a really expensive restaurant, you're setting the tone, I think.
Okay, you are nailing something on the head. So what about Allison? Elevate Etiquette, which you can find on all the social media platforms. She's lovely to follow.
Thank you.
Always put together.
Thank you.
What about when your friends, we're getting out of family, your friends get reservations at, I don't know, whatever expensive restaurant. They're like, hey, let's go to dinner. Oh, we got reservations at da-da-da. And you shriek and go, oh my God, the cheapest bottle of wine there is $200.
Right,
Like,
exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
What do you do in that case? Because then you're setting yourself up to look, oh, I'm so weak and little. Don't take me there.
Well, I think there's nothing weak and little about having a budget and having boundaries and being able to advocate for yourself. So there's nothing wrong with saying that that's beyond our budget, or saying that you're not able to join, but you'd like to do another activity or go to a different place. What I do think is inappropriate is trying to hijack the vision of the event and saying, I know that you wanted to go here with 12 of us, but could we go somewhere else because that's more suited for my budget? You could say something like, I'd love to get together with you another time. So propose an additional event rather than like trying to change the event in its original iteration. And I think for friends, the default is that people are generally splitting the bill. And for dating, which is different, if you are inviting someone on a date, regardless of gender, I think you should be prepared to pay in 2024 because you're setting the budget, essentially, if you pick the place.
Barnes, I see you as the guy to be the first to pull out his wallet.
The first?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not afraid to pay, but it's
I know.
weird when you go with someone who's like total high roller and they're throwing out their black Centurion card and you're throwing out your Discover card. You're like, can I break that into 4 payments through the next 4 months? I just think that's an awkward conversation if someone's,
awkward.
Yes.
Hey, let's go on vacation. Where do you want to stay? Oh, Four Seasons. Oh, I was thinking Ramada Inn. So then you're like,
Well, it is an awkward conversation, but it's better to have it before rather than once you get there. So let's say people spend a lot of money on accommodations and then they get there and then they're not in a place where they have the flexibility to do the various activities or go to the various meals. So it's good to get it over with in the beginning before you get into the more awkward territory.
Or you're landlocked. Say you go to some fancy whatever. Leslie always has these fancy places, and you go and you're forced to either eat there at the crazy retail price, or you go to the grocery store and do the shame game, and you buy lunch meat and stuff, and you have supplemental meals in the room. I mean, it's a thing.
It is a thing. It's definitely a thing.
Barnes, I think we have to have Allison back for the holidays because that's a whole other conversation.
Absolutely.
Holiday etiquette.
When are you back in these United States?
On just a couple days. So,
okay.
But I'm happy to contribute no matter where I am.
The world tour. Okay, follow Allison for all. You have some good topics that come through on there. Elevate Etiquette.
You.
What's the actual handle on Instagram?
It is at Elevate Etiquette.
Got it. And don't spell etiquette incorrectly like me or you'll never find her. All right. Thank you, Allison. It's good to see you.
All right. Thank you. Great to see you both. Take care.
Thanks.
This is the Morning X. It is 99X.